Mike Brown, EDLD 7539, Finance for Educational Leaders, School District Budget Review. For this presentation, I'd like to look at several items on the Georgia Department of Education website concerning the finances of the Banks County school system. I'll concentrate on the year 2018. In that year, our total FTE count was 2,823 students. Our total revenue was $33.3 million, which averaged out to about $11,800 per student. Of that revenue, 56% came from the state, 35.8% came from local taxes, which consist of property, special purpose local option sales tax, title ad valorem, and a few other taxes, and 8.2% came from the federal government. Our total expenditures for the year 2018 was $35,866,000. Let's break that down according to certain categories and just see what percentage were spent and where they were spent at. So if we look at this chart over here, we see that 7.45% or $2.6 million was spent on debt services. 9.79% or $3.5 million was spent on facilities acquisition and construction. A small percentage on enterprise operations. 4.5% was spent on school nutrition. Student transportation took up 5.65% of the budget at around $2 million. Maintenance and operation of plant services, again around $2 million, around 5.8%. Support services, business, was about 0.78%, or $278,000. School administration consisted of 4.66%, or $1.6 million. General administration was 1.44%, or $517,000. Federal grant administration, a little less than 0.5%, or $171,000. Educational media services, 1.37%, or $492,000. Improvement of instructional services, 2.26%, or $810,000. Pupil services, 1.75%, or $628,000. And of course, over 53% goes toward instruction, which is right around $19 million. Now let's break this down by school, and there are 4 in Banks County, and let's look at what was spent on each school. Now for this, we will look at salary and benefits, non-staff support, instructional professional development, facilities and maintenance, and new construction. We'll start with Banks County High School. So for salaries and benefits at Banks County High School in 2018, about $6.6 million was spent. $3.4 million was spent on non-staff support, instructional and professional development, $20,027. About $494,000 was spent on facilities and maintenance. And with the new multi-purpose building going up, about $2.6 million was spent on new construction. Let's take a look at Banks County Middle School next. Salary and benefits was about $4.6 million. Non-staff support, about $980,000. Instructional and professional development, $7,900. A little over $300,000 was spent on facilities and maintenance, and about $362,000 was spent on new construction. We'll go next to Banks County Elementary School. About $4.9 million was spent on salary and benefits. $869,000 on non-support staff. $9,782 was spent on instructional professional development. $311,000 on facilities and maintenance, and $215,000 on new construction. And lastly, let's look at our primary school. On salary and benefits, $5.3 million. Non-support staff, $802,000. $20,000 was spent on instructional and professional development. $230,000 was spent on facilities and maintenance, and $303,000 was spent on new construction. I like this chart because it gives us the budgeted amount versus the actual amount that was spent. And in every category, Banks County seemed to be under budget. Let's look at some observations gained through looking at this website. Number one, I can see that it costs more to operate the high school than it does the other schools. I think most of that has to do with the number of staff. Obviously, with new construction, more money was spent on the high school. If we could go back and look over the last 3 years, we have increased the amount. Of course, our budget has increased as well, but we have increased the amount that we are spending on each student. And that's good, and I'm sure some of that has to do with new things coming down from the federal government. And in number 3, the change in the amount of revenue coming from Banks County was fairly interesting too. And we can see that right here, how we've increased the revenue per FTE has increased from 5.8 to $6.6 thousand.